into Teal, the show. It is Victory Monday. Frank, we have not had many this year. Got to enjoy them.
Victory Monday feels good, and you know what? It feels good for those players. I say this all the time. Football's hard. You were a football player. You know that. Football's hard. Practice is hard, man. And the gratification is when you get to win a game. And when you're a team that hasn't won enough games and not happy with how many you've won, man, it feels good when you get one. And you swept the Tennessee Titans. That doesn't happen every day. Good for the Jags to do that.
Yeah, they've got to enjoy this win over the Tennessee Titans. You're right. Sweeps haven't happened every day. We'll talk more about Doug Peterson's future in some future Teal the Show episodes. But Doug Peterson is now the only coach in Jaguars history to have swept the Titans twice.
He's 5-1 against the Titans. He got an 833 winning percentage against the Tennessee Titans. No one else in Jaguar history has ever been close to that. If they win Sunday, he'll have 3 straight winning seasons in the division. He'd be 12-6 in the division, and that includes 5-1 against the Tennessee Titans. So Doug Peterson has done very well against this division, and particularly against the arch rival.
Before we dive into this win over the Titans, you mentioned the division. The Jaguars have a chance to finish the year 4-2 in the AFC South and still pick in the top 10. That's almost mind-boggling where you could have that record in your division, sweep 2 of the teams, and then still have a poor record.
Which means the division isn't very good, but it would be the 3rd straight year that they were 4-2 in the division. So Doug Peterson will have had a winning record in the division the whole time. It also underscores this season. It's the craziest season I can remember, Jamal. They have played 16 games. 12 of their games have come down to the final minute.
And this was another one that kind of came down to the end. The difference this time, the guys made the plays where they needed to make them. Doug Peterson had his hats off to the guys in the locker room. The message was make the plays when they're in front of you. And that's what he's been telling them all year long. The difference this week as opposed to some of the other weeks this season, Frank, they just made the plays.
Yeah, they really did. And again, 12 games. So in those 12 games, somebody made the play at the end of every one of those games. Yeah. It's just too many times it was the opponent. It was a bizarre season. Give the Jags credit. They found a way to win a game. We know it's a tough season, but we've said this all along, and I'll stand by this. Jamal, they haven't quit playing. They haven't quit grinding. They haven't quit believing and caring about winning the next game. And if you quit caring, then you don't win the next game. So I applaud them. It's a season that got away from them. We all know that. But I applaud them for finding a way to win. I really do.
All right, Frank, we do this every year when they win. Game ball. Who's your player of the game? Where'd you go?
You know what? I'm trying not to make it Brian Thomas every week.
Oh, well,
because you could do Brian Thomas. You could do Brian Thomas every week, couldn't you?
Could.
I'm going to give it to Mac Jones. I thought he played his best game as a Jaguar. It was his 6th start here, his 48th start in the league. It took a while to find himself. I thought he found Parker Washington a few times when he had to, including for the touchdown and a big gainer before that. I thought he was the throw he made to Brian Thomas for the touchdown and another one along the right sideline were really good throws. I thought he made some great plays as a runner. He made some first downs, running for some first downs. I thought it was by far the best Mac Jones has played as a Jaguar in his hometown. I'm going to give my game ball to Mac Jones.
I'm with you. I do think that was Mac's best game as a Jaguar. And you know it's something that sinks in for him. It was the last home game of the year as he becomes a free agent at the end of the season. He doesn't know if he'll be back, but he's able to close out the bank with a win. That's something that I think is valuable for that guy. Definitely caps off to Mac Jones. I agree with Frank. Definitely a game ball goes that way. But we'll talk about your other guy, Brian Thomas Jr.
The other guy, right.
The other guy.
That's right.
We'll talk about him in just a second when Teal the Show comes back.
It means everything to me. Just finish the season off strong and have momentum going into next season. So I would say it means a lot to me.
Big win for the Jaguars this week, and definitely no small part of that was the play of their young players. A guy like Brian Thomas Jr., Frank, you mentioned it earlier. You could give him the game ball every week because the guy just keeps making plays.
Well, and I'll tell you this, to that end, I think you're going to see, as his career develops, more and more finding a way to get him the ball. They ran a reverse. He made 18 yards. They ran a shovel pass to him. That worked. And when he went downfield, he's great, really great at not showing his hands and not showing the defensive back where the ball is. He's got great hands. He's great after the catch. It's amazing how good he is. Not just how talented, Jamal, but how seasoned he is. Gosh, he looks like a guy that's been in the league 8 years, doesn't he? Knowing how to play, how to get in and out of breaks, not overcommitting. He's a really good player. We say it every week, but something new happens almost every week that I didn't see him do before, and that's how good Brian Thomas Jr. has been.
And it feels like we're talking about a little bit of history each week that we've been talking about Brian Thomas Jr. for a little bit. On Sunday, It was his 8th game with 60-plus yards receiving and a touchdown. As a rookie, only one other guy in NFL history has ever done that, Randy Moss. And if you're a wide receiver and you're compared to Randy Moss, and in that conversation is the only other guy to do something, it's a pretty good list to be on. The guys in the locker room think that the sky's the limit for Brian Thomas Jr.
The sky's the limit for BTJ. I feel like he just got to continue just to be a sponge, continue to just soak up all the knowledge that he can. I feel like he has all intangibles to be the greatest receiver here. And he just have to just stick with it and understand that it's his for the taking. And I feel like with great guys around him, just reminding him how great he is, he's going to get there. And I feel like he is up to a tremendous start. And whenever you in a conversation with Randy Moss, I mean, it speaks for itself. You ain't got to say much. I love that BT's a quiet guy. You let his play talk for him. But he deserves that. He deserves it. I see the way he works week in and week out. And just him being alone with Randy Moss, I mean, it speaks for itself. He's on the right track, definitely.
Yeah, I was, you said Randy Moss. I was on the sideline in Green Bay when Randy had a big day in Minnesota against us. I remember that, his rookie season. And, Randy Moss is a heck of a receiver. And Brian just keeps impressing each week. And can't say enough good things about Brian. And just happy for him. But it just goes to show you, just with him and speaking of Brian, just the way he works, the way he handles himself for a young kid, very impressive. Very impressed with Brian.
Special. I mean, first-round receiver. I mean, you expect big things, and he's owning it. And he's doing a great job. It's been exciting to see him grow. I'm very grateful to be his teammate. It's been fun this whole season. I'm excited to keep seeing what he's going to do.
That's a great accomplishment, just to be even in the same conversation as Randy Moss. He's one of the all-time greats. So just to be in that same conversation, I'm just grateful and thankful.
Look, the Jaguars got a good one, Frank. They got a good one in Brian Thomas Jr. There's no way around it.
In 30 years of a franchise here, 29 before this one, there's been one great receiver, and that's Jimmy Smith. Yeah. There's been some good ones. Keenan McCardle was really good. There's been a few others that were pretty good. There's been one great receiver. One in 30 years. This guy will be a great receiver. He will be the best receiver in Jaguars history other than Jimmy Smith. And I'm not going to say he's going to catch Jimmy yet. That's disrespectful to Jimmy because Jimmy was so good. But other than Jimmy Smith, I can tell you now, without any doubt in my mind, he will be, at worst, the second best receiver in the history of this franchise. That's how good I think Brian Thomas Jr. is.
That's a high bar because we can talk about Jimmy Smith needing to get into Canton, Ohio soon. All right. The other young guy that I kind of really caught my eye over the past couple of weeks is Jarian Jones. Now, 2025 is right around the corner this week, going to be rolling into a new year. Everybody's rolling out their New Year's resolutions. Jarian Jones says his New Year's resolution is simple. He just wants to stack up more wins in 2025.
Yeah, I'm trying to bring winning into 2025. Like, I think that's one of my biggest goals is win. You know what I'm saying? Like this year, you know what I'm saying, it was a trying year for sure. You know what I'm saying? It took some stuff out of me. You know what I'm saying? It kind of hardened me, made me a man for real. Never lost this much, but I'm definitely trying to bring winning into 2025.
Frank, you love to hear that from a guy. Jarian has made it clear he is all about winning.
Yeah, he is, and I'm like him, by the way. You know my resolution? To call more wins. Okay, so
there you go.
So I'm right with him. To see more Jaguar wins. I love Jarian Jones. I like how physical he is. I like his swagger. I really do believe this. I think he can play outside. Now, I know they haven't let him play outside. He hasn't been an outside guy. He's been a guy that's played the slot the whole time because he's big and physical. He can cover those slot receivers, a tight end if he has to. I think Jarian Jones can play outside, and it would not shock me if ultimately he's the guy that plays opposite Tyson Campbell. I don't know if that's the plan for him today, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's where he landed.
Definitely would not surprise me either. All right, we're running out of time here on Teal the Show. Frank, before we wrap things up, Fred Taylor has made it to the finalist list for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is the second year in a row that he's a finalist. We've already had you give the pitch before for Fred to make it into the Hall, but one way or another, it is an accomplishment to make it to that finalist list.
Well, it is. If you saw the list, there's one running back on it. He's the only running back on the list of semifinalists because he's the best running back not in the Hall of Fame. He is. He's the next running back that goes in will be Fred Taylor. It should be this year. Fred should get in this year. He's handled it with class. He's handled it with respect. He's handled it with dignity. He was a fantastic player. We all feel that way. But again, one running back on that list of semifinalists, that means there's not many. He'll be the next running back to go in. Nobody doubt. He's going in. I'll say it again. Fred Taylor's going in the Hall of Fame. It should be this year.
I agree with Frank Franz. You get Fred into the Hall of Fame. All right, that'll do it for us here on Teal the Show. Frank, thanks for being here. Thank you at home for tuning in. Good night, everybody, and go Jags.